Hi guys, welcome to another episode of Chai and Cabins. My name is Rashmi and I'm here today with my co-host Jen. How's it going, Jen?
It's going good, Rashmi. I'm just still kind of on that high from last week at the conference. And I'm excited to talk to you about that today.
What an amazing conference, right?
hmm Oh
I
yeah.
so guys, for anyone of you that does not know, we were both at the short-term rental conference last week. It was held in Nashville, and there were some incredible speakers. Nashville's weather like held up for us all week was really nice to walk around in downtown Nashville. I definitely had the hot chicken sandwich. Jen, you and I went out together to get Hattie B's hot chicken
Yep.
sandwich.
I had no spice
Right.
and
And
it was great.
I had medium spice and I ate pretty spicy, and the medium spice was like my level of like, and I'm a foodie, so like everything about Nashville, I was like, yes, please. And this is my second year going to the conference. Have you been to the conference before?
No, this was my very first year. Ryan, my husband usually goes to them. I finally got to leave the house. So it was awesome. Like it was amazing. I've never been to Nashville either, so that was really fun to visit. And yeah, it was so cool to finally meet people on in person who I've talked to online for so long.
I absolutely love it. So, what we're going to do today, guys, is a special episode that's all about breaking down what actually happened at STR Secrets Short Term Rental Wealth Conference in Nashville. We'll share our tips, our tricks, things we loved about it, people we connected with, and all the good stuff. So, Jen, what was your favorite part about the entire conference?
Oh, the networking.
I
I
agree.
mean, 100%. Like just the vendor hallway showcase was great because there were like booths with like loungy furniture. We could just sit and talk with each other, which was awesome. And then, after the day's sessions were over, we went out to, have dinner and hang out for a little bit. So it was so fun, the networking with people.
I
What
agree.
about you?
Always my number one, like networking is like you'll always find me never in class, kind of just hanging out in the hallway talking to someone. Because I'm a big like I always buy the recordings from these things. I'm like, I can listen to the speaker later, but I just want to be out here meeting people. And it's a great time to meet so many operators that were in the market. And I'm in Texas. And I feel like because it was held in Nashville, there were so many Texas-based operators that flew in. So I connected with tons of people.
Yeah, that's awesome. No, I loved it too. Like we did run into someone from Northwest Arkansas, which was pretty neat. And then one other person we knew from Arkansas was there too. But again, just like meeting you in person was awesome. And then, and meeting the other people from our mastermind group was really, really fun.
Mhm.
So that was worth all we paid for the entrance fees.
Yeah, and so let's talk about entrance fees because I think a lot of people will look at the entrance fee, and I definitely was like, "Oh, this is up there in price. Like, is it genuinely worth it?" And they have like all of these levels, right? And for somebody who has maybe one or two properties, do you think it's worth it for them to pay the price?
I definitely think it is, especially if they don't really have that kind of network where they are, where they live, because you get so energized from from energy, like from you and other people that are really excited about what they're doing and like have big goals. And so I mean, just that is worth it because you come back and you're so motivated and energized to do stuff and take action.
I couldn't agree more. I think like my first year on like putting in the price, I was like, I don't know if this is gonna be worth it. We'll just check it out and see what happens. I got so much value back. Like it was insane. Like the cost of admission was nothing for the amount of value I got back and the amount of things I was able to implement into my listings to do better like last year. And then this year I felt like I was meeting, excuse me, so many people that were just like I want to invest with you guys. I want you guys to manage my property. I want you to do this. I want you to do that. Like I was just meeting all these people who I thought people came here to learn self-management, like how do
hmm
I manage property? And that was not the case at all. There's so many people from so many different walks of life that are just looking for help. And the amount of resources that were there was incredible.
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, I was surprised by that too, thinking it was mainly going to be self-management people, maybe some property management people like us.
Mhm.
Um, but then yeah, when I was seeing people were like, yeah, we're just ready to invest in a property, or yeah, we have this property, but we're trying to get tips and tricks. And we were looking to hire someone to help, manage the property. I was kind of surprised by that as well. But that's just great. I mean, because you're bringing all these different people to serve them, and it was great.
Yeah,
It was
I think one of the main things going to any networking event is like, what do you want to get out of it, right? Whether it's local networking in your community or if you're going to a national level event like STR World Conference, like, what is your, I was really specific in my aim about the people I wanted to meet and how I could serve them. And like, so I kept basically attracting these people and going like, and so I was like, I want to meet hotel owners. I want to meet people. If I buy a hotel, they can help me raise money for my hotel deal. Like, these are the people I want to meet. And when I went there, it's literally like the only kind of people I met.
That's amazing. I think I wasn't as prepared like when I went, just because it was my first time, so I wasn't sure what to expect, and it was just like, it's new experience. What am I gonna do? So I love that you had those clear, defined goals of who you were looking for. And yeah, I mean, clearly you're bringing on more people already, for management. So it's awesome.
Yeah, I think I mean, again, I go to a lot of these, so after a while you're like, okay, I better like start, because it's exhausting to go to these events, right? Like, they
Mm.
start at 7 a.m., they don't end till 5, there's after parties, like it's a really long day of like being present and being with people. And like with our business, like even though my team handles 99.99% of stuff, like things come up, right?
Yep.
Like, you still have to be on it and like make sure, so you're like out for like 3 days.
Yep.
It's long, right? And you're out partying with friends and like making all these connections. It's exhausting. So going in with a really clear purpose about like, this is what I need to do, this is who I need to meet, these are the kind of connections I need to make, like it makes it a lot easier to focus in on like what actually matters.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's great advice for sure.
I also met tons of people who were like just sharing value. Like, you could tell someone like, hey, like this listing isn't working for me. Like, what am I doing wrong? And I feel like there were so many people who just like offering what I would consider just like genuinely free advice. That was really good.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was great. I mean, it was awesome. Value, service, it was all great.
Yeah. One of my favorite parts, and I'm gonna sound like such a foodie at this point, is that I walked in after, so the way that the event was split up, for you guys don't know, it started on Monday, right?
Hmm.
Okay, it was Monday through Thursday, but the event went on for 2 days. So it was Tuesday, Wednesday were like the main days.
Right.
And on Monday, they had a couple of extra classes you could like opt into. And the first event I attended was Mike Shogren and Rich Summers boutique hotel like workshop. And I
Hmm.
was blown away. Like, guys, these guys were sharing numbers, deal analysis, where they found it, underwriting the deal. Like, I was just like, I had no idea all of this could be done.
That's awesome. Yeah, I need to watch the replay of that one, the recording, because I think maybe we're in the revenue management um workshop during that one, which was also
Yeah,
like,
I didn't get to attend that one because it was the same time. How was the revenue management one?
it was great. So the first part, so it had two different speakers, I think John on, that right? Okay, and then Emil, I can't remember his last name, but they were both really great. They had totally different kind of strategies and views behind how they do, revenue management.
Mhm.
Um, but like Emil definitely provided more of the strategy of what he's doing and kind of like actionable steps you could take like that night for your listings to,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
you can make a difference. So yeah, those were great. And I'm excited to rewatch them so that I can probably implement some, or definitely, know what to do when I'm looking for a revenue manager and kind of what questions to ask them,
Mhm.
because that is something that we'll be doing this year for sure, is
Mhm.
doing more of that.
Any tips you want to share with us on revenue management that was like, oh wow, I didn't know we could do that in Price Labs or Wheelhouse or whichever platform?
So it looks like, so Emil was using, well, actually, I think both of them were really using Wheelhouse, and we actually use Price Labs right now.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing was they were talking about like there's kind of three different like times or time frames to really be like keeping your eye on.
Oh,
And it's within those time frames that you need to be adjusting the prices accordingly, and then also changing your minimum um day requirements, instead of like, further out doing like 5-day minimums and then,
yeah. I think with
shorter.
not that I'm a revenue management expert by any means, like at all. I do think there was a time in 21, 22 where you could be at 4 night minimums, 5 night minimums, and they were getting booked like far out. I don't think we're in that period right now. We're being a lot more aggressive with like we're lowering our minimum nights. Some of our properties have gone to like 1 night minimums just so that we're showing up in the search a lot more and getting a lot higher bookings. Uh,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
sure, like we're making a bunch of changes. We're A/B testing Wheelhouse and Price Labs at the moment
Nice.
just to see like what does better for us. But yeah, it's always about being on top of your game, right? Like this is
Mhm.
not a business where like I put a property on Airbnb and then like I'll just worry about it when it's comfortable, right? Like you've got to be in there more or less every other day, like especially in pricing. Like I spend most of my time on revenue management and I have a revenue manager.
Right. Yeah, I definitely like I've been going in myself for each property like every couple days too and just like adjusting stuff, but I'm looking forward to hiring someone who actually like, has the presets already, everything's in there, and then I can just go in and make tweaks if I need to. But I'm hoping it'll be more of a automated process for me,
And
you know.
it's a combination of an art and a science, right?
Yeah.
Like predicting when someone's going to book your property is really hard to do.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think it also too, like if we have a revenue manager who isn't as comfortable or knows much about our market, then I think it is important that they have someone else looking at it like we do, just kind of check them to make sure that we agree with what they're pricing the properties at.
Yep. No, I couldn't agree more. On the hotel management kind of workshop that I attended, what I really liked is they kind of broke it up into like 4 parts. And at the end of like part one, they had just like a Q&A. So you could ask like any questions you had about like how to find a deal. You could ask any questions you wanted in part two about here's how we analyze the deal. Like here are our numbers. Here's how we did this. And one tip that I like absolutely loved, like really loved, was they were like, where can you find investors? Because these guys are buying multi-million-dollar deals. And that's, yeah, that can be scary, especially if you don't come from like a multi-family raising money kind of background. And one
Mm.
tip that I really, really liked that they gave out was just hang out in areas where other people who invest are hanging out. So Rich Summers talked about being part of an exotic car club. And
That's
he's
awesome.
this is where I hang out, right? Mike Sherwin's talked about hanging out at the golf course and making
Yep.
sure he plays golf on like Wednesdays or Thursdays during the day and meeting with people who are able to lend on your deals and not coming in like Rich Summers was he's like I never talk about my deals when I go do these things, right? Like I just want to be there and generally enjoy the cars and talk to people and this, and if it organically comes up, sure, but always being in that mindset of like, hey, I'm here to serve people. Like I want to have a good time. I'm not here for, it's not about me, it's not about raising money. It's about providing really good value content and people will come and approach you if they're interested.
Oh yeah, because I mean, you'll start talking to people and they're going to ask you what you do, like, I mean, just as the flow of conversation is going. So,
So that
yeah.
was really fun. But my favorite part, that's where I was like headed with this. So like we get done at like 5 o'clock with this, and I'm like a little bit tired, like already, right? Because there's like all this information just like being thrown at you. And I walk into the hall for so the way they had this on like what 3 different levels?
Oh yeah, yeah, it was at a huge venue.
It was a huge venue. Thank God for escalators
Yes.
and elevators. So like I walk in and this lady is just like, would you like a grilled cheese sandwich? And I was like, you know what? I would like a grilled cheese sandwich. And they had like an open bar. I thought it was a really nice thing to do.
Yeah, the opening night.
Yeah, I was like really impressed. And it was a really good some one-on-one time with a lot of the vendors.
Yep.
To and lots of new products that are coming out, lots of things you can do. I really enjoyed that.
I did too, and I liked how, I don't know how they if they did this last year, but I liked how several of the vendors actually did like mini sessions
Oh yeah, yeah.
throughout the conference. So like Kenny with Esther Insights, I think he did like 16 talks. I'm not even kidding. But he just like set up a screen or something in his little booth area and like was talking about amenities and best places to invest for 2024 and that kind of stuff. So that was neat. And then someone else was doing like a social media and branding um session as well in her booth. Like it was really nice. And I didn't feel like anybody
Like
was really being salesy, or pushy or anything. It was just like, hey, just come hang out with us and
speaking
let's
of
talk.
Tony, I would love to get him on the podcast. It could be really fun to do a
Oh
whole
yeah, you're right. Yeah.
like the top markets to come invest in, kind of data, talk about his analyzing tool, how to find deals. That's a question I get a whole bunch is like, where's the next frontier for short-term rentals? And it's a really hard question to answer.
Yes, it is. I ask the same thing. Because I mean, I don't know. I get
Is that
asked that
like
too.
the city of gold somewhere? That's
Yeah.
like, unless I'd love to get him on the podcast. And guys, if you're interested, drop us a comment below and we'll go see if he's willing to come on.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so that
After
was
day one, I went out with a few friends and I was exhausted. So day two started. So that was the main day of the conference. I think that was a Tuesday. And they had speakers lined up like back to back, right?
It was very packed, because they would have, like, main speakers, and then they would also bring on some of the sponsors to talk, and then it was just like boom, 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 and then it was lunch, and then it was boom, 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 it was very very fast paced, but it was good, yeah, I think so Tuesday I'm actually trying to pull up some more of the agendas so I can remember what all happened because, again, there was just so much going on, but yeah, we did more workshops, I remembered one of the talks that was good was actually an insurance talk with proper insurance.
Really? Okay. Because I
Just
use
something
Proper.
to use. Yeah, we use them as well because they seem to have the most comprehensive insurance out
Mhm.
there for short-term rentals. So that was a good talk, just kind of, explaining to people why it's important that you can't just add a rider to your homeowner's insurance. You really need to have dedicated short-term rental insurance and why that's important.
That was one question that I just heard, which was Bill Faith asking the Proper insurance agent. He's like, "You guys are the most expensive thing on the market. Can we talk about that?" And I really like that because it is true for a lot of people, including owners that I refer to. And I'm like, yeah, I should use Proper. And they're like, it's really expensive. And I'm like, but is it more expensive than your mortgage? You know,
Mm-hmm.
is it worth $1 million? Like, I mean, like, what are we really talking about here?
Yep.
Oh, I really like that. And guys, there is recordings of all of the talks if you guys want to purchase them. I'm happy to put the link down below, or if you go to, for there was a website, right, where you could purchase recordings if anyone's interested in listening to them.
I would probably go to the STR Wealth Conference website. It's strwealthconference.com, and I bet they have information on there about how to purchase the recordings.
Yeah, I know it's going to take them. I don't know when we're dropping this podcast, and maybe in a couple of days. It may not be ready for purchase to recordings because you have to get all the recordings, process them, and then upload them. So it does take them a while, guys. So just be kind.
Yeah.
I know
Yeah.
they'll have it in a couple of weeks.
I'm looking at some other of these topics. I didn't get to go to some of these workshops because, they were all happening at the same time. But it's like a cool one. If anybody follows Bill, then you've heard him talk about super properties. So I think him and his wife tag teamed a session where they talked about, what a super property is and like really how to build one out and why it's so effective.
I love it.
Um, yeah, that was a good one, I bet. And then also, midterm rentals was a big topic as well.
Hey, let's talk about midterm rentals. Do you want to explain to everyone what a midterm rental is? Because I feel like you're the in-house expert.
Yeah, sure. So those are stays that are 30 days or more. Typically they're at least 90 days to maybe 6 months. And then as far as kind of the target audience for those, the easiest ones that you maybe have heard about are healthcare, traveling healthcare workers, sometimes business professionals. But then kind of the hotter topic right now in the industry for midterm rentals are people who have been displaced from their homes. And those are what we call insurance clients. So you're working either directly with the insurance company or with a housing relocation company who is working with the insurance company. And so those are kind of like top of mind right now. I know some other folks are doing other cool stuff with midterm rentals, like Noble Crawford is now focusing on like flight crews, so they're, either the flight attendants or pilots who need to have places to stay. So that's kind of a new one. And then government contracts as well.
So one thing I found, like we're very focused on short-term rentals. And one thing I've been doing is anytime somebody comes to me for midterm rentals, I'm kind of just sending them off to you. So because it's a completely different business model. I think if you have the time and you're two properties and like I really love midterm rentals, I want to do it. I think that's great. At the scale I'm at, like it's just not, and it's not as easy as just going to ALE Solutions and putting up your link, right? Like that's part one, that's like step one, but that
Yep.
might not get you the booking.
Yeah, no, definitely. Building relationships is going to be the key for getting those bookings with the housing relocation companies. Because I mean, they're having to service so many clients every day. And so they're just literally like, okay, is there a place for here, a place for here, you know? So if you can make their lives easier by providing them with their housing options quickly and also just like fostering that relationship, then you will be top of mind when they're looking for places for their clients.
So if I'm looking to do like a midterm rental, like if I'm looking to receive like a midterm rental booking, am I gonna make the same amount of money I do on my short-term rental or long-term rent? Or like what, how, like, what kind of money standpoint can I expect?
It's just gonna depend really. I like on seasonality. So we do try to focus on short-term rent or I'm sorry, midterm rentals when we're getting into the slower season because I know we can make more money that way. But I'll give you an example. So in our Texas market in San Antonio, um, a few months ago, we had two midterm rentals that we negotiated, and the pricing was $12,000 a month.
What?
Yeah, on both houses. I know.
Guys,
I know.
okay, so where I thought it would be like, I don't know, like 4 grand.
Oh, got it. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it depends. It totally depends. And it depends like on who they're trying to service, you know.
Okay, so it can be pretty lucrative. And did you like, was that just listed on ALE, or were you like were you calling the agents? Like was there a process?
So for these properties, they had been listed on ALE. So and then one of them I got from a Facebook group actually. Like there was a lady in a Facebook group who, you know, was displaced from our home because their floors had flooded and so they needed a place to stay.
I love it. So if somebody wants to get midterm rental bookings for their properties, is that something you take on?
Um, sometimes yes. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it depends on the market. I'm happy to talk to people about it though if they're trying to figure out how to make it work in their area.
Or you could connect them with somebody they're maybe looking for, if
Oh
they're not.
yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
so guys, there's somebody here if you're looking to get some midterm rental bookings. And the other thing I like about midterm rentals is you kind of circulate over on the regulation side, right? Like if you count short-term rent, midterm rental is usually
Yep.
okay in most HOAs, most cities.
That's true. Yeah, there are some places like California, I know in some instances where they only allow 30 plus day stays. And I think also some places in Colorado,
Okay.
um, where we're operating, we currently are able to do short-term rental. So we're not, you know, these are just kind of like icing on the cake.
I wouldn't mind a 12 grand icing on the cake.
Yeah, yeah, for real. So
I feel like we went way off topic.
we did kind of midterm rentals. They're a
Like,
whole other topic, and there are far more experienced people who talk about that, but we can have them on the podcast. But that's just been our, you know, our experience recently.
that's amazing. I mean, again, a lot of people have one or two properties that are performing really well in the slow season. Hey, how can I get extra bookings? This is a fantastic way to do it. I just want people to know it's not as easy as like putting it up on ALE Solutions. I would love to see more midterm rental operators in the market that like even we could partner with for short-term rentals and go like, hey, like we specialize in short-term rentals, but in the off season would love to partner with you guys and like get some bookings on these properties.
Yep, definitely, definitely.
Yeah, so
Uh,
midterm is gonna be big this year.
I think so too. Let's see, and then oh, you know, one of the main stage speakers, I mean, he's internet famous for sure for our industry. Is I always say his last name wrong. I'm gonna call him Sean R because I always say his last name wrong. Um, but people probably know who I'm talking about. He had like a main speaking session and then he did a workshop. It looks like, but he talks about rental arbitrage. That's like his big thing that he does. And then I think he also talked about revenue management as well this year. But arbitrage is, you know, another one of the ways you can enter into the market if you don't have, you know, enough money to put down on a down payment for a property.
Okay, I would definitely agree. And he has tons of content out there. I did not get a chance to listen to him speak. I'm sure it was amazing. He always just comes in with so much energy.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, I'm
Yep,
sure it was a rocking session.
he did. Um, let's see. I mean, what else? What else? I mean, another big thing for me that my big takeaway was just focused on a lot on mindset as well. which was really nice because it wasn't just an STR focused topic, right? Or real estate focused topic. It was relevant to anyone and everyone. So just like, really getting clear on your values and then your goals and then really like working on that daily to visualize where you want to be was really valuable.
I love it. So, and I think the next day, so this was Tuesday, and then they had a couple of after hour events. You could meet with people. But the next day, Mike Sjogren started the day off with like mindset. And I love the fact that it like wrapped around on Wednesday evening with Damon John talking about mindset as well.
Yeah.
Like just like the perfect circle.
Yeah. And it was really cool how they like it was so similar their experience. And then also I think the cool thing that Mike had mentioned was his visualization that or his mood or his vision board that he had created back when he went to a Grant Cardone conference, I think. Damon John was on the stage. And so on his mood or I keep saying mood board. I'm in design space right now. On his vision board, he had put a picture of himself like on the same stage, or maybe it was an image of Damon John on the stage. But it was crazy to see that come full circle where they were on the stage together.
Yeah.
That was
No,
like,
I think what Mike Sherman said is like, he like cropped himself like into that photo. And it was like, and like he's like 5 years later, like this happened. And I think the more you talk to successful people, the more you realize they do the exact same thing. They wake up, they visualize, they write about their mindset, like where I want to be, what do I want to do? What's one thing I need to do right now to like move the needle for me? And then kind of go about their day. And then at night, they seem to have the exact same routine, which is like, hey, I think about like what I want, what I'm gonna do, and then I go to bed like thinking about like my desires basically.
yeah.
And it's kind of it's like this whole like secret club, but it's not a secret.
Yeah.
Ask them, they'll tell you.
Right. No, and like I feel like I've like heard these things before, but like I also feel like actually meeting people that do it and it's like actually it's work like it works
Right.
is just so much more powerful.
Correct. Yeah, and seeing the success, right? Like all of
Mhm.
these people like basically started from nothing, right? Like
Mhm.
they were regular people who made it. And I think that was a really cool story. And everybody was just so nice. I think you could have approached anyone and been like, can I get some help? And they were like, absolutely, like, what do you need?
Yeah. Yeah. So that was really cool. Um, what else? So we Ryan, my husband, decided we were gonna do like the VIP
Mhm.
track or badge, what have you. So that so we were able to do the kind of the workshops, the pre-conference workshops and the post-conference workshops were included within that. And then we also had like a VIP lounge, which was nice because we got to go, grab drinks and snacks throughout the day. But then also like the main stage speakers, except Damon John wasn't in there, but Pace Morby, who was also one of the speakers, he like rolled through the lounge right after he spoke. So we got to meet him and take a picture with him, which was so cool.
Yes, I love it.
Yeah, so that was cool. And again, he was a great
Yeah,
talk as well about, seller financing and sub two. That was really cool. And I know that's been like a hot topic this year, and I think or 2023, and I think it'll continue to be a hot topic for 2024 as well.
100%. Especially with people's low interest rate locked in, I think sub to seller finance, owner finance is going to be like the next like big thing.
I
And
agree.
it already is like huge, but I just
Mhm.
think a lot more people know about it now.
There you go. Yeah, I think a lot more people know about it.
He's such a good speaker.
He was so good, so engaging, like so entertaining. I love that he went over his time, but it was, I mean, I would have paid like I feel like his talk alone was worth like I would have watched him my admission. Like I could have sat and listened to him for like hours.
And
Just
yeah,
because
I was like, somebody give this man the 4 hours he needs, please.
thank you. Yes, exactly. It was so good. So I got to meet him. And then really cool with our VIP pass was that on the Thursday, which was well, I guess other people had already left, right? So we stayed on Thursday, and Thursday morning, we had a very intimate session. There were like 20 of us, and Mike Sjogren was in the room, Bill Faith was in the room, and like some other kind of like heavy hitter folks were in the room as well that are just, you know, much leveled up than we are. So it was great to just have this intimate conversation with them. It was really cool.
It's like being in the inner circle.
Yeah. It was really cool.
I love
Yeah.
it. So was that kind of like you could bring a problem and be like, this is what I'm struggling with, this is what I'm looking to grow, and then they were kind of like help like working through it with you?
Yeah, it was like, so there was a hot seat if you wanted, if you had something that you were trying to work on. So one guy was talking about, he has this deal that could change the course of his life essentially, quit his job, and just like blow up. So they kind of talked through that with him. And then someone else, kind of the same thing. They were just trying to figure out the best way to move forward in their business and just like breaking that down. So it was cool, really cool to hear like Mike's and Bill's take on these issues and also some more about like their past and how they got here. I didn't, since we're in Mike's mastermind, I know quite a bit about his story, but I had never really heard Bill's story or, all
Mhm.
the businesses that he's built and some of them sold. Like that was pretty cool to hear. So it was just really neat to be in that room in that setting with those people.
I can imagine. And I think there's always this high, like coming back from conferences, you're like, I'm gonna do all these things, it's gonna be so great. And then you get back home and then just kind of like fall off the wagon in a few weeks. So one of the things I did was like obviously join a mastermind where like every week like I'm held accountable to like am
Hmm.
I taking all the right steps. Like it's easy to talk about these things, but like are you actually going out and doing what it takes to make a difference?
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I think that was like another big takeaway, like, consider joining a mastermind if that helps you. If you're one of those people that like, I can just do it on my own, sure. But I think the cost of the mastermind is well worth it if they save you from buying even one bad deal.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
This is
And all
one.
the people you meet. So,
Yeah. So all in, I really enjoyed the conference. It was lots of fun. They had so many activities. I was like, I'm exhausted. I think I'm
oh,
sick.
yeah. Right. I know, me too. This week has been like drinking from a fire hose
Yeah.
because, like we were off last week,
Correct.
but yes, this week has been interesting.
I agree. I agree. If you guys have any other topics you guys want us to cover, drop us a comment below, or you can find me on Twitter/X under Chai and Cabin. Send me a DM about what you guys want us to cover. And Jen, how can people get in touch with you if they want to ask more information about midterm rentals?
They can find me on Instagram at STR Simplified.
Thank you guys, and we'll see you around for our next one.
Bye.